Now, Andrew Tate has finally been charged. I remember last year, this was a huge controversy. A lot of people from the Anglosphere didn't understand how can a person be arrested without getting charged? Is Romania like North Korea? Are we a tin-horn democracy? And I did my best to explain the situation. Many people disagreed with my explanation and they disliked me for it, but I don't know why, because I just explained how the law is like in Romania. And the way it works here is that if the government has suspicions and they're reasonable enough to believe that a person has committed a crime, they will start an investigation. And during this investigation, the person is considered to be innocent until proven guilty, and they are called the suspect. So normally the suspect should be allowed to remain free while the investigation is happening. However, there are a couple of exceptions to the rule, and this is if the suspect is believed to have the ability to flee the country, or if he wants or tries to flee the country, if he has enough influence to try to tamper with the investigation, like intimidate witnesses or try to bribe officials, or if the authorities believe that the individual can be considered a danger to the public, to himself or others. There's many other reasons, but basically the reason that you are being placed under 30 days arrest period is not because the government thinks you're guilty, but it's to not meddle with the investigation. And this is what the not being charged is. It's like they can't charge you if the investigation is still going. Again, this is how Romania does things. Many other nations on earth do it similarly. I think that in the United States, the way that it's been done, if you're one of the people that they consider a flight risk, they will just lock you up without bail. Now they will charge you. Usually they will charge you with a bullshit charge and then they can change it during, as my understanding goes. Again, I did not study common law, so I only know the law in my country. But here you get arrested for 30 days and you are being told what they're investigating you, but like they're not officially charging you. So in the case of Andrew Tate, he was told, yeah, human trafficking, Loverboy method, like this is what we're... But they will not show him the file because they're still gathering evidence. Now that they are sending him to court, they are showing him the file. They are allowing him to mount a defense. And apparently, the reason it took so long to gather the evidence is that while the mainstream media says that this is the Andrew Tate trial, there's actually more people involved. It's not just him and his brother, it's also 2 other women, and they're also charged under the same crime. So it's a total of at least 4 people. One of the other ladies, she is called Tate's Angel or something like that. Anyway, from my understanding, what they are being charged with is something that is illegal in my country. Now, I don't know the law in other nations. Maybe this doesn't even exist. But the act of promising a woman that you will marry her and then get her to do video chat and take a percentage of that money, that's a crime. Also, he's being charged with hitting one of them, lovir sau alte violențe, I believe it's called. And the other ladies that are part of the trial, they're charged with other crimes as well. So basically, it remains to be seen whether or not he's going to be found guilty. My opinion, looking at some of the stuff that was leaked into the press, some of the videos that he made where he actually describes some of the methods that he is using, I think that his lawyer is going to have a very, very difficult time arguing the case. Which is why probably his lawyer is trying to get him off on technicalities. Right now, I understand that his lawyer is going to make an appeal, saying that he can't be sent to court because the way the investigation was done was not according to the letter of law. Now, I don't have access to his file, but basically what this means is that in Romania, for instance, when the police enters your house, they have to enter starting 6 a.m. So if they enter at 5:30 a.m., that would be a violation, and that means that any type of evidence that they got while doing the search would not be able to stand in court. Like things like that, you know, technicalities. And I think this is what the lawyer is going to try to argue. Regardless of that, we're going to see what's happening. Again, he can be found guilty for some of the crimes committed. He can be found not guilty for all of them, or he can be found guilty for all. remains to be seen, as well as the other members that the press doesn't want to talk about, like the two other ladies. Now, one of the things that was also mentioned is the fact that the government stole his cars. I saw this in an Italian rag, if I remember correctly. But it was definitely trending on social media. Many people were saying, oh, the government stole stuff from him. Basically, what they're talking about is that, yeah, like they took 15 cars away. They took 14 watches away, which were very expensive watches. 2 golden bars, a medal, money. They also took away 15 of his buildings by obviously like taking away his building means that they placed a seal there and no one is allowed to enter. That is not theft. Like the government hasn't stolen that. What that means is that during the trial, he may be asked to pay for damages to one of the victims. And if that comes to pass, then he can choose to pay from his bank accounts, in which case the government will return everything that they took away from him. Or if he doesn't want to pay or he doesn't have the money to pay, then the government is going to auction the stuff that they took from him and use that money to pay the victims. And if there's anything left, he will get access to. Of course, this is also if the government doesn't consider that the stuff that they took away from him wasn't used for committing crime. So, for instance, if they do view that the video chat activity was illegal, then all the computers and electronics that they confiscated will not be returned to him. But I personally suspect that most of the stuff that was taken away is going to be returned to him. Now, he's also receiving an extradition request into Great Britain, so even if they don't find him guilty here, there is the high possibility that he's going to be extradited back. Or if they find him guilty here, he's going to serve his sentence, and after he finishes serving, he is going to be sent to Britain in order to stand for the other trial. So yeah, he is in a lot of predicament here. Now, I do want to point out, like, the whole thing with not being charged is not what I don't have issue with, right? Because again, in the United States, if you commit a crime and they see, oh, this person has dual citizenship, he's got a private jet, he's a flight risk, we're going to lock you up without the possibility of bail until your court date. Like I view that to be quite similar, even though like in that place they charge you and you know what you did, but then they can change the charge. It's like, okay, fine, whatever. The thing that I don't like in my country, and this is not just my opinion, a lot of other legal experts are talking about this, is the whole 30 days preemptive arresting, where again, like for 1 month, they don't want the person to influence the investigation. So basically, if you're a person that's suspected of taking bribes, well, you got the police coming into your house at 6 a.m. in the morning, they confiscate everything, they take away your phone, they take away your computer, they take all of that stuff. Then they take you for questioning for 24 hours, and after that you find yourself in a prison for the next 30 days. Your neighbors get to see you with handcuffs, you get to your court date in handcuffs. Like, the public image is really bad. And this happens a lot with politicians. Like, you look at the television and you see, oh, this politician was arrested for corruption. And they show him with the bracelets, you know, as they're carrying him to the paddy wagon. And in the mind of the public, it's like, oh, well, the justice system is working. He got arrested. And then you find out that he gets out on a technicality, or that they didn't have sufficient evidence in order to convict him, or maybe he didn't even do the crime, right? So it's this thing that I wish it wouldn't be 30 days. I wish it would be smaller, or at least they wouldn't put you in a prison. They would put you somewhere else, or, you know, preferably the investigation should be done while the person is allowed to be free, or, you know, at least under house arrest, because again, the idea is that you are presumed to be innocent until proven guilty. But like, how can you do that when you appear in front of the judge with handcuffs on, and you've been spending the last 30 days in prison? Not to mention the possibility of social contagion is high, because the person is going to come into contact with some of society's worst criminals. Like this is definitely something that I would be willing to have a conversation. But to suggest that Romania is like North Korea, or that we're still a communist nation because of this, I think it's a stretch, especially when so many other countries around the world have a similar system, or a much worse system. Like, for instance, Japan has, I believe, like somewhere around 90% conviction rating. Like, you can spend months, around months in a police station without actually being charged of anything. So, you know, it is what it is. I think like people just lack the other example so that they can make an accurate comparison in their mind. Still, as I mentioned, Tate was going to stand trial for this, and it's going to be very interesting to see what accusations the government has against him. And due to the nature of the trial, I don't think it's going to be live streamed like in America. Romania does trials differently, but probably the whole thing is going to be written down and people will have access to it. And many internet commentators are going to give their opinions on it. In the meantime, let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.